This lovely story by Ted Hughes begins with the words The Iron Man came to the top of the cliff. How far had he walked? Nobody knows. Where had he come from? Nobody knows. How was he made? Nobody knows. The Iron Man falls, scattering himself on the rocks below. Bit by bit, he pieces himself together, all except for one ear, which he cannot find. He goes down to the sea to look down, down, until the water covers him completely. Have we seen the last of the Iron Man? In fact, the story is just beginning. From farm to farm, over the soft soil of the fields, went giant footprints, each one the size of a single bed. The farmers, in a frightened, silent, amazed crowd, followed the footprints. And at every farm the footprints visited, all the metal machinery had disappeared. Finally, the footprints led back up to the top of the cliff, where the little boy had seen the Iron Man appear the night before when he was fishing. The footprints led right to the cliff top. And all the way down the cliff were torn marks on the rocks where a huge iron body had slid down. Below, the tide was seen, the grey, empty, moving tide. The Iron Man had gone back into the sea. The furious farmers began to shout. The Iron Man had stolen all their machinery. Had he eaten it? Anyway, he had taken it. It had gone. So, what if he came again? What would he take next time? Cows? Houses? People? They would have to do something. They could not call in the police or the army because nobody would believe them about this iron monster. They would have to do something for themselves. So, what did they do? At the bottom of the hill, below where the Iron Man had come over the high cliff, they dug a deep, enormous hole. A hole wider than a house and as deep as 3 trees, one on top of the other. It was a colossal hole, a stupendous hole, and the sides of it were sheer as walls. They pushed the earth off to one side. They covered the hole with branches, and the branches they covered with straw, and the straw with soil. So when they finished, the hole looked like a freshly plowed field. Now, on the side of the hole, opposite the slope up to the top of the cliff, they put an old rusty lorry. That was the bait. Now they reckon the Iron Man would come over the top of the cliff out of the sea and he would see the old lorry which was painted red and he would come down to get it, to chew it up and eat it. But on his way to the lorry, he would be crossing the hole, and the moment he stepped with his great weight onto that soil, held up only with straw and branches, he would crash through into the hole and would never get out. They would find him there in the hole. Then they would bring the few bulldozers and earth movers that he hadn't already eaten, and they would push the pile of earth in on top of him and bury him forever in the hole. They were certain now that they would get him. Next morning, in great excitement, all the farmers gathered together to go along to examine that trap. They came carefully closer, expecting to see his hands tearing at the edge of the pit. They came carefully closer. The red lorry stood just as they had left it. The soil lay just as they had left it undisturbed. The Iron Man had not come, nor did he come that day. Next morning, all the farmers came again. Still, everything lay just as they had left it. And so it went on day after day. Still, the Iron Man never came. Nobody likes to believe in an iron monster that eats tractors and cars.
Turn it off!
Soon, the farmer who owned the red lorry they were using as bait decided that he needs it and he took it away. So, there lay the beautiful deep trap without any bait. Grass began to grow on the loose soil. The farmers talked of filling the hole in. After all, you can't leave a giant pit like that. Somebody might fall in. Some stranger coming along might just walk over it and fall in. But they did not want to fill it in. It had been such hard work digging it. Besides, they all had a sneaking fear that the Iron Man might come again and that the hole was their only weapon against him. At last, they put up a notice, "Danger, keep off," to warn people away, and they left it at that. Now the little boy Hogarth had an idea. He thought he could use that hole to trap a fox. He found a dead hen one day and threw it out onto the loose soil over the trap. Then, towards evening, he climbed a tree nearby and waited.